I'm going to start, though, with Lions OL coach Hank Fraley reportedly being interviewed for the Seahawks open OC job. What can you tell us about Hank?
Well, first of all, I love that if that happens because, again, Frank is a guy that's worked very hard, a guy that's kind of been behind the scenes, but yet and still what his position group, that offensive line, has been able to do since he's been here. I mean, he's been able to plug and play. Guys have been able to fight through injuries. We know how tough these guys are up front. And he's going to bring that demeanor. He's going to bring that characteristic to Seattle if he gets that opportunity. So I think it would be a great job. And Seattle wants to bring their toughness back. So if they want to do that, I think Hank Fraley would be the great job for the OC.
I always like when offensive line guys are mentioned at the OC position because, as you and I know, and everyone I guess who watches football understands that the O-line really sets the tone. What do you think of the O-line situation over here, and what do you think that Hank would bring to this O-line?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I thought when you guys brought in Big Cross and the other tackle, you know, those young guys, I thought they would progress a little faster than they have.
Yeah.
But, again, I think Hank can speed that up. I know he can because, again, I've seen him work with guys around here, and you've seen these guys kind of develop and see these guys kind of grow. If you think about we had Jonah Jackson here. He was able to go to L.A. and get a big contract. Graham Glasgow, he was able to go to Denver and get a big contract and come back here. You see what we did with Penei Sewell, and you see what Taylor Decker has got. So, and of course Frank Ragnow. So we again, he's shown that he can take the talent around him and develop it. And like you see our run game, that's just a byproduct of what these guys have been doing up front. When you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, you look at what David Montgomery has done this season, you know, it's really just a byproduct. And Jared Goff, it's a byproduct of how good that offensive line has been, both running the ball and passing the ball.
Lomas, I think it's easy for people to look at the Lions offensive line and go, well, they got a couple first-rounders on there. How hard is that to coach up? But you know and I know that teams draft and miss on first-rounders all the time and that coaching absolutely is important in getting the most out of those guys. Tell me about this Lions OL and kind of where coaching plays a part. Not just like we knew Penei Sewell was good. We know all these guys are good, but like where does coaching really come in here and shine?
No, you're absolutely right about that. Mm-hmm. But even a Penei Sewell, even a Taylor Decker, even some of your best linemen in this league, you're going to lose a player or two. You know, you're not going to have your best game all the time. You're not going to be at the top of your game. And to be honest with you, sometimes those guys have confident problems, and that's where a coach comes in at, especially a coach that's played the position. Oh, my goodness, I would have killed in my 18 years to play for a guy that played in the NFL and played the offensive line. So if I'm struggling out there on the field, guess what? It's a sense of comfort coming to the sideline and knowing that guy, the person that's coaching you, he's been there, done that. He's had these same struggles, so it just gives you that sense of confidence, you know, when you come to the sideline. So I think it's so much that coaching brings to a team, and I quite think it's underrated, especially the assistant coaches. Yeah, you hear about the head coaches, but I'm telling you, when you start breaking it down, and not the OCs and the DCs, I'm talking about your positional coaches. When you start hearing about these guys and the job that they do, then you know that your coaching staff is well coached and they're ready to take these guys to the next level.
Dan Campbell is such an interesting guy, and his approach, I think, is old school, which I appreciate, man. I'd play for Dan right now. Why do you think he's been able to kind of connect with this younger generation? Because Lomas, we know these kids are different now. You know, they move different, they act different, but for some reason the old school approach is working there in Detroit. Why do you think so?
Yeah, I just think because right, he's been a player in this league, 9 years in this league. So again, like I say, he's sat there, done that. So those guys know that he's kind of been there where they are right now. I think the other thing about Dan is that his message from day one has been the same. It's been the same message, whether we were – I remember when we were 3-13, 3-13-1. He was preaching the same message that he's preaching right now at 14 or 15-2. So the message has been consistent throughout. And, us as players, us as professional athletes, that's what you look for is consistency in whatever you're doing, whatever you're being told. And he's done that. And then, again, he says, and I believe it, you have to be a certain type of guy to play for the Lions. You just have to be a certain type of guy. They're only looking for certain type of guys to be able to play on this team. And so far, they've hit it with the guys that they brought in because these guys have been the right guys. These guys have been phenomenal over these last couple of years. And the good thing about it is that it's a young core. So this window of opportunity should be open the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Mike McDonald said that he wants to be physical on offense. Lomas, I would consider Detroit's offense pretty physical. What does a tough physical offense look like?
Yeah, so again, you're going to start it by dominating the line of scrimmage. So that, again, they have to have that aspect. They have to have that want to, too. You got to want to be good. You got to want to be the best at what you do. So, again, that's that mindset that come into play. And 3 up front, man, you have to be able to play as a unit. We're the only, if you think about their offensive line, it's almost like a hand in a glove. Everybody has to be working together. No one can miss a play or miss a block or miss an assignment, and that play isn't going to work. On defense, yeah, you could cover up. A guy can miss his gap and another guy can cover up for him. It don't work that way up front on the offensive line. So, and everything has to be precise. So, again, you're talking about a group of 5. You're not talking about a group of 2 or 1. You're talking about a group of 5 that has to play as one. So that's the most important thing. And, again, when you talk about a guy like Hank Fraley, that's your foundational piece. He could get that piece set for you along with your run game. And, of course, you're going to involve with the passing game because that's what the Lions do. Everything we do over here is predicated off the run, including our pass.